The shadows of South Central. Pookie, Man-Man, and Ray Ray had been friends forever, growing up together on the same streets of South Central Los Angeles. They'd seen their share of strange things in the neighborhood, but nothing compared to the horror that awaited them one Halloween night. It all started when old Miss Evelyn, the neighborhood eccentric, warned them about the empty lot at the end of their block. She claimed it was haunted, cursed, and that something unnatural lived there. Most people laughed it off as one of her wild stories, but curiosity got the best of the boys. Pookie, Man-Man, and Ray Ray weren't easily scared, and Halloween felt like the perfect time to prove it was just an old wives' tale. Under the orange glow of the streetlights, the three made their way to the empty lot, flashlights in hand. The lot had been vacant for as long as anyone could remember. The ground was cracked, littered with old tires and weeds that grew waist-high. A faded no trespassing sign dangled from a broken chain-link fence, swaying gently in the breeze. "You sure y'all want to do this?" Pookie asked, trying to keep the nervousness out of his voice. "Come on, Man-Man replied, forcing a laugh. "We just gonna walk through, see nothing's here, and go grab some hot wings after. Ain't nothing out here but rats and stray dogs." Ray Ray, the quiet one, didn't say anything. He was staring at the middle of the lot, where something glinted faintly in the dark. He nudged the others and pointed. "Y'all see that?" The boys aimed their flashlights toward the center of the lot. There, half buried in the ground, was a strange metal box. It was covered in rust, its edges jagged, but there was something about it that drew them closer, like an invisible force urging them forward. They crouched around it, brushing the dirt away. "It's locked," Pookie muttered, fidgeting with the rusty latch. Man-Man looked around and picked up a piece of broken concrete. "Let's bust it open. What if there's money or something in there?" With a few hard hits, the latch broke. As they pried open the lid, a foul odor filled the air, something that smelled like a mix of burnt wood and rotting meat. They all stumbled back, covering their noses. Inside the box was a single, ancient-looking doll. Its glass eyes were cloudy, its face cracked, and its once white dress was stained and torn. Around its neck was a small chain with a faded metal tag, inscribed with a single word, "Mercy." "Yo, that's creepy," Pookie whispered, feeling an unsettling chill run down his spine. "And, man, let's just leave it," Ray Ray said, his voice shaking slightly. "Something about this don't feel right." But Pookie, always the daredevil, picked up the doll, chuckling nervously. "Come on, y'all, it's just a doll, ain't nothing to be scared of." He tucked it under his arm, not noticing how its head seemed to turn slightly as if watching them. The three made their way back to Ray Ray's house, laughing and joking, the night's unease slowly wearing off. They put the doll on a table, determined to forget about it, but strange things began to happen almost immediately. That night, Ray Ray woke up to the sound of shuffling footsteps in the hallway. Figuring it was his little sister sneaking around, he got up to scold her, only to find no one there. The hallway was empty, but the air was thick with the scent of smoke and something rancid, just like in the empty lot. The next day, they found the doll in Pookie's backpack, even though none of them remembered putting it there. "Man, this ain't funny," Ray Ray snapped, his face pale. "How did it get in there?" Pookie shrugged, trying to laugh it off. "Maybe it just wants to be with us?" But the laughter died in his throat when he looked into the doll's eye. They weren't cloudy anymore. They were sharp and clear, like they were alive. The nightmares began that night. Each of the boys dreamed of a shadowy figure chasing them down dark alleys, its fingers long and thin, its face hidden beneath a hood. In every dream, it would reach out with hands like claws, whispering the same word, "Mercy." They tried to get rid of the doll. They threw it into a dumpster down the street, but the next day, it was sitting in Pookie's room. They buried it in a field behind an abandoned building, but it somehow found its way back to Ray Ray's closet. As the nights passed, the boys grew more exhausted, their nerves fraying. They began hearing whispers even when they were awake, voices murmuring their names, and the scent of smoke followed them wherever they went. Desperate, they went back to old Miss Evelyn, who looked at the doll and gasped. "You boys done messed with something you don't understand. That doll ain't no toy. It's a vessel, a trap for something that should have stayed buried." She told them a story, one that sent chills down their spines. Decades ago, a powerful curse had been placed on the doll, meant to imprison a vengeful spirit. Anyone who disturbed it would be bound to the spirit forever, unless they performed a ritual to banish it back to the empty lot. That night, Pookie, Man-Man, and Ray Ray gathered at the lot, the doll in hand. They followed Miss Evelyn's instructions, lighting candles around the perimeter and chanting words they barely understood. But as they chanted, the air grew colder and a thick fog rolled in, swallowing up the streetlights and casting everything into darkness. Then they heard it, the scraping of feet on concrete, the same shuffling steps from their nightmares. The boys turned, their breaths coming in short, panicked gasps as a figure emerged from the fog. It was tall, with long, thin fingers and a face hidden beneath a hood, just like in their dreams. The figure stretched out its hand toward the doll, and they could feel the air crackling with its rage. Pookie, trembling, placed the doll on the ground and stepped back. "Take it. We're sorry." But the figure did not disappear. Instead, it lifted its head, and beneath the hood, they saw nothing but empty, hollow eyes staring right into their souls. "Mercy," it whispered, and the boys felt a wave of terror wash over them as their flashlights flickered and died. When the fog finally lifted, Pookie, Man-Man, and Ray-Ray were nowhere to be found. Some say they vanished into the shadows, taken by the spirit they had disturbed. Others claim that, on Halloween night, if you listen carefully in the empty lot, you can hear their voices calling for help. And sometimes, just sometimes, people swear they see 3 figures wandering the streets of South Central, lost, forever bound to the curse of the doll that should have stayed buried.